3 members present, with Christina and Raj absent. This meeting will be held virtually in a hybrid setting and recorded by the Town of West Boylston staff. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have public comment. This is a 15-minute period for the public to address their concerns and questions. Except under urgent circumstances, any matter presented for consideration for the board will not be discussed in detail. Do I have anybody here for public comment? Come on up.
I want to make a comment about trash policy.
Can I have your name and address?
My name is Pete Murphy. I live at 128 Worcester Street, just next door. I received 6 containers at my house. I found out that I can return 4 of them. I only need 1 trash and 1 recycle container, but I will have to pay for 6 containers. That's the policy. The policy apparently has been disconnected from actual volume to just how many containers you have. And I don't think that's particularly fair. I produce at my address 1 large bag of trash a week, and that can be easily handled by a single trash container. So that cost me $52 a year before, and now it's going to cost me $1,404 a year. So I think the policy as it stands, which is basically that buildings like mine, which have 3 apartments, must pay for each apartment regardless of the volume of trash that we produce. So I'm hoping that there'll be a review. In fact, the town administrator assured me at some point there will be a review of this policy, and I think the policy is unfair and does, in some ways, is prejudice against renters. So I hope that you would reconsider that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
I'll do public comment. Open mic is what I like to refer to it as. Mark Frieden, 8 Pinewood Drive. First, 3 things. First thing is welcome as chair.
Thank you.
Hopefully it goes as well as Christina did, perhaps better. Second one is to request consideration of the agenda item on here about the sewer maintenance review. Anything that would prompt a fee increase be reviewed right alongside the other bigger capital events or capital projects, just because it's all coming from one bucket. It's the resident's wallet. And I mean, it is what it is, even if it's a small amount or a big amount. I mean, just maybe we have to phase it into whatever we're doing so that it's palatable. So that's my request for that one. Next one is the Economic Development Task Force. This is my opinion, not that of the board. I haven't discussed anything with the rest of the board. It's to retool that committee or team a little bit to be the home of grant writers or anybody else involved in trying to raise or find funding besides the levy, like grants or anything. I mean, funding from the state, funding from private organizations, any sort of partnerships. I think that the only thing that has to happen to the mission is to broaden the scope to be not limited to only commercial sources, which is what it is right now. It's supposed to be more of, you're supposed to raise money from commercial endeavors to offset taxes. But the fact is that it's just the commercial properties in town, they just aren't enough relative to the residential properties or everything else. The burden would be it would be immense if you're going to try to raise some money, some significant money off of just the commercial entities in town. I guess those are my 3 comments, and good luck.
Thank you.
I hope it goes well.
Anybody else here for public comment? Anybody online? All right, I'm closing public comment. Next, we are going to review and vote to approve warrants for the period covering June 4th through June 16th, 2026. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Second?
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
And the next is reviewing the meeting minutes from April 15th, 2026. This is executive session meeting minutes, not for release. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor? Aye. We're gonna move a little bit out of order because I have some people here. Let's start with old business comfort dog grant. Just give me a second just to find where this is in the packet.
Second to last.
Second to last.
I made sure I memorized the order of the packet before the meeting, so I wasn't fumbling around like I was last time.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so under old business, we're discussing the Comfort Dog Grant. This item was before us previously, and we had asked for some questions to be answered, as well as, overall structure, cost, liability, et cetera. Some of those questions were important to us because we just need to make sure that the town's being protected and that we have all of our ducks in a row. So do you have anything that you would like to update us with?
As far as the access to public buildings, we spoke with the superintendent of schools, we spoke with the senior center and the library, and they are all in agreement that this would be a great thing for the people that go to those facilities. As far as the insurance goes, apparently, as long as the dog is owned by the town, there is no extra fee or anything.
Right.
That goes along with it. Now it's you.
That's all that I had.
No, that whole memo thing.
Give me 1 second.
Give me an idea what the question was, I can answer.
Where is it?
While we're waiting, do you have any update on the status of the grant? Is it still on hold?
Any change to
No
that yet?
change, okay.
So that's why we're not really in a rush at this time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I believe you had some questions about how old the dog will be when it is taken into possession. It will be approximately 8 to 10 weeks old when it is taken into possession. The time frame for training is anywhere from 16 to 24 months to be fully trained and certified, depending on the available training. There is no recertification process for the training once it is completed and the certifications are obtained. The grant is for $10,000 for 3 years, with $10,000 being the maximum amount you can obtain per year. The grant will cover all expenses, which upon proof of receipt and ownership, similar to the burn grant that we just received, will be fully reimbursed up to $10,000 by the Worcester County District Attorney's Office. And the only thing that the grant does not cover is food.
And have we thought of any ideas for maybe, I know people in town love to volunteer. If there were an opportunity for people to donate either money towards a special type of food or the food, that way there's no expenses whatsoever. That might be a nice little program to get started. And then how will the naming process be?
I put some thought into this. So we might have an official name, but I was thinking of putting it out to the kids in the school and having a contest where we pick the name from there.
Great.
We'll make sure it's nothing racy, something we all understand.
So I can't motion Sir Wolfington.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I can't motion the name for Sir Wolfington or Sir Miss
You
Barks a
can
lot.
if you like. It would probably have to be your children that put the name in.
I mean, I can stuff that down, that's fine.
Sure,
You
yeah.
guys are gonna end up with Fluffy, or
Well,
6'7" or something weird.
And I have put some thought into, because it has to become a member of the department, so basically a police officer. I'm thinking of giving it the rank of corporal, so that when it asks for a treat, all the patrolmen have to give it one. Following an order.
If I may, I just had one question, and I thank you for answering our questions. This is terrific. I think it's very exciting. The 16 to 24 months training, how, I assume at some point during the training, the dog will be able to be used, or is it, do we have to wait the full 16 to 24 months to utilize the dog?
So as far as I know and from my experience in the past, as soon as you get the dog, it can be right out there in the
Terrific.
mix.
In fact, I believe they want it socialized.
Sure.
Children
No, it makes-
want as
makes
a
total
puppy,
sense.
So that it's used to it.
Thank you.
All right, my only other question was, once this does become permanent or whatever it is, we need to work on a policy with the select board about this in the school, just to put that on the radar, just to have some sort of policy in place for this.
I believe Superintendent Riley was going to make up a policy for the schools.
Oh, perfect.
And with that being done, we can adapt that to any other facilities in town.
Great. Any other questions? Yeah, I think at this point, we're in a much better position to move forward. With the understanding that the questions were addressed and that this is grant supported, I will entertain a motion.
I move to authorize the submission of an application for the Comfort Dog Mutual Aid Project grant and to authorize the town administrator to expend such sums as may be received under the grant provided.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I have one question. When we do get the dog, are we gonna be able to bring it to a meeting to be sworn in?
Yes,
I would
please.
hope so.
Yeah, I thought that went without saying.
Okay, all right, very well.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for putting us first.
Once he or she is thoroughly potty trained.
He'll be following behind with us. Thank you very much.
Don't
Thank you.
forget the ethics training.
Yes, everybody has to do that. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, going back up to new business. We are going to discuss the special traffic constables. Just for the public's knowledge, these are public safety and traffic management for staff and needs for the town. In many cases, these costs are not paid by general taxpayers. For example, if a utility company or contractor requires a traffic detail, the cost is typically billed back to the company. If it is a municipal or town-related event, then that town budget would be approved for the funding source. If there are no questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move to ratify the town administrator's appointment of David Busquet, and Augusto Diaz Jr. To special traffic constables.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're going to table the next item, correct?
Please.
Okay. All right, appointment of Chris Berglund to the pilot committee for a term ending June 30th, 2027. So Chris is on a lot of boards in town, and we thank him for being willing to serve. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to ratify the town administrator's appointment of Christopher Berkland to the Pilot Program Subcommittee, term ending June 30th, 2027.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Excellent.
We are tabling the next item as well, or should we discuss?
The next item, we have the contract amendment in front of you. If there are questions on it, we should hold it till after the executive session. If there are no questions on it, I think it could be voted now. The only change to it is an increase in the number of hours to assist in the fact that we do not yet have a permanent town accountant named.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? My only question is, are there any new steps being taken to fill this position that we should be aware of?
So it was reposted on, what's it called? Handshake, which is a site for college graduates and alumni. Our hope was to, look at kind of a different approach as opposed to trying to find someone who was steeped in the skills we needed, find someone coming out of school fairly recently and providing them support. And additionally, we posted it on one other site. How many would you say we have at this point?
Probably 15 to 20.
So we have 15 to 20 in the folder now. My thought was I'll review those with the incoming TA on Monday. Let him determine whether or not he thinks there are a crop of that's worthy of interview. If not, then let him decide how best to move forward. I didn't want to start a whole new recruitment effort if he had a different thought on how to proceed. I have, in my most recent meeting with him, made him aware of the challenge, and we both lamented, the current job market.
Mm-hmm.
So he is aware that this will be one of his challenges early on.
Okay. Do we have any further questions?
Was it just just so, for awareness, and it was just a repost of what we had previously posted before, correct?
Well, the one for Handshake was really more of are you having challenges finding a job? Are you interested in a longer-term career? We're here to help support you. It was more of I think we were trying to say, yeah, you may be getting frustrated out there by what we're hearing, and maybe you didn't think of the public sector,
I see.
but we're here, and you may think this is above you, but we will provide you with support to make sure you are successful. Is that a fair way to?
Yeah, we used it up to attract the young kids, the media kind of, social media kind of look. So I thought it looked good.
Are we okay to vote for this now, or should we go into public session?
I think we can vote now.
I have no issues. It seems straightforward.
All right, I will entertain a motion.
I move to authorize the town administrator to sign amendment number 2 to the town accountant's personnel service agreement as presented.
Second?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Now we are moving on to the Select Board's reappointment of annual June board and commissions. So there are a number of people on boards that are willing to stay on the boards for the next term, and we'd like to thank them, and we're grateful for everyone who wishes to serve. Would you like me to take this one by one, or can we do it in a group?
I'm okay doing it as a group.
I think a group is great.
Okay, I'll take that motion.
I move to ratify the Select Board's appointment of the 16 members for a term ending June 30th, 2029, to the committee or board each person is on respectively.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
May I?
Sure.
Just comment on that. Originally, we had the school building committee on here. There was some disconnect between some of the different folks involved, thinking maybe it had been dissolved when your expression of interest for the last round had been revoked. So we have it in the transition memo for the incoming TA. I've spoken with Dan Riley, the chair of the two board. Revoking a letter of interest did not dissolve the board. And you do now have a new statement of interest submitted.
Right.
So we just pulled that off for now so that those four folks could get together and everybody could be on the same page.
Ironically, 3 of the members of that committee are in front of you.
Yes. I was a resident member at the time. That's what led to this.
So we'll have to rock, paper, scissors to see who the 2 select board ones are going
I
forward.
leave that to the wise judgment of the two boards.
Okay, similarly, we have the town administrator's reappointment of the June boards and commissions. Any hesitations on any of these reappointments, or I will entertain a motion?
One sec, please.
My only question is, the way the motion is written, should this be written as town administrator's appointment and not the select board?
Yes.
So I'll make the motion with that amendment. I move to ratify the town administrator's appointment of the 11 members for a term ending June 30th, 2029, to the committee or board each person is on respectively.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next one is the senior center coffee hours. So every first Wednesday of the month, the senior center welcomes a member of the select board to come and ask, or let residents come in and ask any question, you know, more informal setting, if they want to talk about what's going on, or just chit chat about some suggestions they might have in town. In the past, we have rotated the members who are going to this, and so we have 5 months in front of us. I'm only gonna do through the end of the year, so starting in August, that first Wednesday, I guess if the three of us here want to pick which dates we want, and then the other 2 members we'll assign them the other 2 dates. I personally would like to do the October 7th one, if anyone has any other date they would like. There's
Please.
August 5th, September 2nd, November 4th, December 2nd.
Say that one more time, Vanessa, I'm sorry.
August 5th, September 2nd, November 4th, December 2nd.
I'm happy to do the November 4th.
Okay,
August 5th looks open for me currently.
okay. And then I will assign Christina for September and Raj for December. Okay, we don't make any motion or anything for that, right? Okay. All right, moving on to accepting donations for the Council on Aging in the amounts of $352.52 and $84. Can I have a motion?
I move to accept the donation in the amount of $352.52.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then the second one?
I move to accept the donation in the amount of $84.00.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, was I supposed to do that at once?
Doesn't matter. Okay. Getting into the really, really fun topic. Let's talk about sewer capital investment overview. While we are getting this pulled up on the screen, there was a memo bringing to our attention all the deferred maintenance for the pumps, valves, grinder pumps, things that we need to take a look at. And it's clear that our retained earnings are no longer a reliable way to support the system, so we do have to look into how we're going to pay for these aging infrastructures.
So just for the general public, a bit of a brief background here. The town last raised sewer rates in 2020. Since then, it has relied upon retained earnings that have been thrown off each year to help write down the budget for the coming year. Similar to the way free cash has been used to write down the town budget. However, those retained earnings are becoming lesser and should not be considered a source of continuing means of offsetting the rates. So the town last fall engaged Ty and Bond to do a rate study as to what rates should be over the future years. Now, there were two wrinkles in that rate study when I first got it. The major one, in my view, is that there was no CIP, Capital Improvement Program. So the study did not include a provision for financing needed improvements to the system. And I was told at that time that deferred maintenance was around $2 million. That did not turn out to be the right number, but I think you can see that, if you're looking at buying a house and you know it's going to need improvements, you have to look at the cost of those improvements and how are you going to finance them as part of your ongoing mortgage. So we put a halt on the study until such time as we could try to pull together this overview. The second wrinkle that is in this effort is the case of Holden versus the city of Worcester. And for those who may not be aware of it, the towns of Holden, Rutland, and West Boylston pay a charge to the city of Worcester for their costs in letting our flow go through their lines. Holden asserted that Worcester was overcharging. They won that lawsuit. Neither Rutland nor West Boylston sued Worcester. We have, in effect, been piggybacking on their litigation. You have not been paying them since fiscal '23, but you have been reserving those monies aside for when that bill is finally settled. That is similar to if you're a tenant and the landlord is not keeping the property up appropriately, you can withhold some monies, but you do have to set it aside because eventually the bill comes due. There will be a conversation tomorrow with council and others, and we're hoping to get some insight into where those rates might end up at the end of the day. Because if we overestimate them, that overestimates the rates that are needed. And if we underestimate it, it means the rates that are projected are too low. Either estimating them too low is a risk to the system, estimating them too high is an unfairness to the ratepayer. So with that as a background, let's move on. So let's talk first about the costs. Now, you saw how these were put together in terms of 4 different elements. Depending upon how you look at each of these elements, the deferred maintenance on this system is in the neighborhood of $1,250,000. The first is deferred maintenance on the actual system itself, the 9 pump stations. There's a 22-page report included in your package, and I think we will take that package and get that online for people. I think we'll start, I think that the incoming TA, I'm sure will want to start a page for that, similar to how we tried to keep people up to date on the evolution of the solid waste program. And that will show $900,000 of needed improvements. Those could vary, and of course will be impacted by inflation over the course of the improvements. The second is a series of gate valves on the forced main. And what's a forced main? Well, most people, when they flush the toilet, think it just goes downhill to one of the pump stations they see along the side roads. However, there are a number of folks who have grinder pumps that we'll get to in a minute, and those are actually pumped from station to station to station, forcing it all through the system. Gravity is not really part of that system. That is approximately $110,000. You have approximately 130 private grinder pumps on the system. You're currently spending $45,000 plus a year to maintain them. There are issues with that we'll get to in a moment. It would cost as much as $400,000 to replace them all. If the system is operating normally, this is not a capital investment, but it does impact your capital investment. Less capital investment means higher maintenance costs annually. The estimate is if the system is operating in optimal capabilities, your maintenance costs will be in the area of $100,000 plus or minus. Currently, you're spending north of $150,000 and more. So just bear in mind, less capital improvement means higher maintenance, and that $100,000 starts to quickly climb. It's like having a car that's under a car warranty versus the 10-year-old car that you're not maintaining, and you are stuck with the brakes failing as opposed to simply replacing the brake pads or something else. So let's get into it a little bit deeper. The deferred maintenance evaluation from Weston and Sampson, as we told you, is 20-plus pages, and we'll get that up online for people to see. So let's deal with these issues in the order in which they appeared in the first discussion of costs. You have 30 plus or so pits. They're in the middle of the road. They're not off to the sides, and these are for the forced sewer mains. Each one of those pits contains 3 large gate valves. They control the flow downstream, coming in from upstream, or a bypass should something happen and they need to change the flow in it. Each one of those valves has a series of 10 bolts in it, and they hold the valve in compression and the gasket under compression. If those fail, the gasket blows out and you have larger issues. You have repaired 6 of those over the past 15 years, but the concern is, remember, to a lot of people, this system is new. It's 25 years old now. So the fear is that the balance of the valves are aging to a point of potential failure. So you have 90 valves in total. It's estimated that a crew can do 4 of them per day, which is 23 man days for the crew. These are also confined spaces. They're in the middle of the road, so there is an expense to do this. They actually cut out one bolt, replace it, make sure that's under proper torque, and they go around them one by one until all 10 are replaced in each valve. That's $99,000 approximately. With a contingency, that's $110,000. You can continue to replace them as they fail. You can put them on a schedule. Do please not lose sight of the concern that this is now aging to a point of potential failure in the view of Weston and Sampson.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I don't recall if we,
Go back to
Oh,
the screen, please.
I don't recall if we have these details, apologies if we do. Did the Weston and Sampson provide a general guidance for the recommended lifespan of these?
So in one community, they actually sent somebody in and they inspected each valve pit and then started replacing the ones that they thought were closest to failure. In this case, I said, well, why are we sending somebody in to inspect them when we could send someone in to repair them? And the engineer that has been tasked with maintaining your system thought that that was a better approach. Yes, you have 6 that you've repaired in the past 15 years. Those did not replace all 3 valves in that pit. Those could be scattered. So I suppose you could put them on some sort of schedule. My question is that this is a relatively low cost, but a high failure risk.
Yep.
And so would you want to try to do that?
No, I'm not, I can see arguments for both sides. I'm not opposed to just wholesale replacing them in theory. I'm just curious if the engineering firm gave guidance on, hey, these are really rated for, say, 20 years, you're on 25, you're kind of on borrowed time, or were they expecting them to go 40 and they're prematurely failing?
On this one, we didn't because we knew they were already starting to fail.
Okay.
Now, we did have that discussion on the grinder pumps that I'll get to in a moment.
Okay, great, thank you.
So what's a grinder pump? Well, for 130 of your properties in town, when they flush, it goes into a pit, and there is, for simplest terms, think of a food disposal. I mean, it's just a little different material to a little bit finer, and then it's pumped into the forced mains. Why do you have these in town? In the design of the system, in order to minimize the cost of the system and to minimize the amount of gravity sewer mains that were going to have to be built, and the fact that you would have had to add pump stations, a value engineering decision was made that it was cheaper to install the grinder pumps and take on their maintenance than it was to build additional gravity sewer mains and pump stations. So you install about 100 with the original system. You have added about 30 since then. I think the final count's actually 131, if I recall correctly. All but 5 of these service single residential properties. One of them services a DCR property of that 5. The second one services Major Edwards. The other 3 are private, commercial, or nonprofit properties. In building the system out that way, the town took on the responsibility, quote, to operate and maintain all necessary residential grinder pumps. When you first started the system up, you were getting about 15 call-outs a year. And the calls were relatively simpler and cheaper. You are now getting around 35 calls a year. This is within the past 5 years. I believe we gave you a schedule of failure per year. And the average life of those grinder pumps, there's actually 3 in place, David. They have slightly different lifespans and slightly different costs. But the current estimated annual costs are around $45,000. If you replace all of them at once, it would be about $400,000. One of your neighboring communities is replacing 25 at a year. That does leave you with your call-outs. Can you hit those first? Hopefully, so you don't get back again. How do you pick which ones to do in which year to try to, yes, you want to minimize your annual expenditures, but you want to minimize that annual maintenance cost as well. So it's not as if you know which ones are about to fail and you can replace them first. So you do have an out, and we'll come around to, do you want to trigger that out? In that, can you scroll that up, please? You went too far, please.
The last one?
No, back up, no, the other up. Keep going slowly.
Oh, man,
Okay, right there.
sorry.
In your regulations that you adopted for this system, the Board of Sewer Commissioners, the italics are just what I put in there to save all the rest of the typing, might decide at any time that the grinder pump units can be more feasibly operated and maintained by the homeowner. The operation and maintenance will become the responsibility of the next homeowner at the time the ownership of the property is transferred. Triggering that out allows you to record a notice with all 131 grinder pumps that the Registry of Deeds costs you around $14,000 to record the notices. That upon sale of the property, the grinder pump becomes the responsibility of the next owner. Over time, it would be about 11 to 12 years, you would no longer be responsible for the grinder pumps anymore from a strict regulatory standpoint. From a public perception standpoint, I'm sure people will continue to call the Public Works Department and say, hey, my grinder pump isn't working. So there's some things to consider, but we'll get to that in a few moments. Now let's go to some of the questions. So that report that I prepared for you, I believe, is 37 pages long. It's laced with a number of questions throughout it. But what I've tried to do here is to break those questions down into a bit of a decision tree that will help us in meeting tomorrow with Ty and Bond, who are doing the rate study, to say, okay, here's all the costs, and here's how we want to approach them. But the first question for the board goes to, having had a chance to review those, whether or not you thought that there were items missing in terms of what we outlined the potential costs for. Because if there are, we need to get you those cost estimates.
I don't believe there are missing estimates at this time.
Okay.
Nor do I. I have one question
Sure.
specific to the grinder pumps. Forgive me if I'm jumping ahead. Of the 125, I assume the one for Major Edwards is much
So
bigger and more
let me
substantial.
just say, is that a cost question?
No, are there different sizes?
Yes, there are, and I'll get to that
Thank you.
in a moment. Could you pull out the report for me, please? So the next question is, we have all the items. Down, please. And so we walked you through how we calculated the replacement of the grinder pumps, how we calculated the valves on the forced main. Are you satisfied that the calculations are reasonably accurate?
I have no problem with them. I think they seem to be accurate.
No reason to believe that they're not.
Okay. So now we are into the biggest variable for the whole project in terms of decision-making. You have 131 grinder pumps that you've taken the responsibility on for. And for the 5 commercial buildings, yes, they are a little bit larger. The Major Edwards pump is scheduled to be replaced this summer. It's had some problems, and so I did, after the last challenge with it, direct the sewer department to get that one replaced over the summer months. That one by itself is a little over $35,000. To give you a sense of the scale versus the residential.
Which are what, roughly a quarter?
I forget exactly, do you have the, no, I have it. Let me just get that out.
I think I remember seeing around 3,000.
The grinder pumps, there's 2 types. One of them's in the neighborhood of 3,500, the other one's in the neighborhood of 6,500.
Okay.
Again, in some cases, it may just be a control panel where the motor might be able to be rebuilt. But if you have to complete, and it depends upon the condition of the pit itself. Is the basin cracked, or is there something else going on with it?
If I may, Carter, is that 3,500 or 6,500 all in, or is that just the cost of the pump itself?
That is all in labor and everything,
Thank you.
based upon the assumptions that we have
Of
here in
course.
the report.
This is gonna sound like a dumb question, but for the public, what would happen if one of these didn't get fixed? What are the consequences?
They can't flush their toilet.
And then the cost might increase from there? I mean, if we wait to get these fixed, to costs increase versus if we get them done ahead of time?
When they fail, it can cause backup and problems within the property itself and put the property out of service. We get to them fairly quickly when they get called in. You're not the only town that's done this. On Lake Bomazeen, the problem there was we would get folks coming up from New York City and they would discover, at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, their grinder pump had failed, and we'd get the call at that point. So you're not the only town that has done this, and some of your neighbors have as well. So you have some decisions, and you have a couple different ways to go. And all of these affect costs. You can continue to maintain them all. You can transfer the maintenance responsibility upon sale. I would want to work with council through this, but you could require an inspection and repair certificate upon the sale, similar to smoke detectors. Costs are nowhere near wise, but when you go to sell your house, you have to pay to get it inspected and repair the smoke, carbon monoxides, and the like. The repair, inspection, and certificate is kind of a mid-level between maintaining them all and saying, nope, we're done, here you go. I do want to point out, I believe that there are PR and actual operational issues by not maintaining them, because people will expect this and it will cause some potential problems until people get used to it. The last one is whether or not in reviewing the report, you had other thoughts about approaches you might want us to explore. So we would like to ask you for a discussion amongst these and to give us a sense of direction as that impacts costs that we're going to carry into the rate study.
Okay. I do think it's also important just to kind of talk about the history of this. This wasn't something that, West Boylston said, oh, it's convenient for people. The town was made to have people connect to the sewer as part of the watershed protection for Wachusett Reservoir. So in 2002, this was a mandate. It had some serious financial impacts for people. Some people are, still reeling from those impacts now. It's not a decision that, anything should be made lightly in terms of, do we maintain it? Do we transfer it over to the owner? If we're looking at total usage, we say around 2,100 households.
I think it was around 2175 because the count that I got was based upon bills, and if there was credit on the account, a bill didn't go out. So, but I think using 2175 plus or minus as the customer base is a reasonable number.
So having 2,175 houses, and then potentially asking 125 of those to now take over this ownership, either immediately or at the sale of their home. It's tough. It's a tough decision because, the rest of the people who don't have one of these might argue, well, why should we have to share the cost? But then the people who bought into this, knowing that the town was owning it, why are we switching the script now? Why are we now asking them to pay for something that they originally thought was going to be covered by the town? So it's a really tough decision. Does anybody else have a thought on this while we're?
So I have a question for context and background. So if I understand correctly from your explanation of when they went in, and obviously none of us were here at that time, but it seems like for cost savings measure on the implementation of the sewer system, the grinder pumps went in as opposed to re-engineering the sewer system to account for the differences in geography.
Correct.
So to make sure I'm thinking about this correctly, for the financial viability of the whole project, they made these as stopgap systems, but now, in essence, we're wondering, do we jettison these stopgap systems because we didn't, because the initial sewer system was not engineered to be gravity fed everywhere? It, you know,
With the
I'm not saying-
exception of characterizing it as a stopgap
okay, fair,
measure.
fair.
This was an engineering decision. Think you're building a new house, and you made a decision, do you want central AC, or are you gonna put some mini splits in? Well, the mini splits may have different issues, it may have been cost-effective overall. So, yes, the cost of the initial system was lessened by using this dual approach. Gravity system for much of it, forced main system for some of it.
Okay.
I have, sorry, David.
No, just that, yeah, I recognize the burden that the group, that the broad majority of the town is now sharing for a small number of properties, but I guess in my mind, those small number of properties, we engineered the system that way. And while they may have an undue financial burden on the rest of the system today, I doubt any of the homeowners of those particular houses then or now were civil engineers that signed off on the town that said, yeah, you can work around it this way. So, yeah, I recognize that they're on private property, but they feel just like a piece of the system as laid out how we're discussing it right now, in my opinion. Go ahead, Mike, sorry.
No problem. I have two questions and one comment related to that. One, just thinking more about the grinder pumps themselves. I have a septic system and I have a pump for similar reasons, topography of my lot. And I flush the toilet, it feeds into a chamber, the chamber pumps it to the main tank. If something were to fail, if the float valve, disconnected, whatnot, there's an alarm that sounds and it makes a tremendous amount of noise. Is there any type of sounding or alarm related to these grinder pumps? Do we know when they fail, or is it just a catastrophic backup when it happens? Does it fail long before they know it's failed? I guess is my question.
I did not think to ask the engineer that. I should have, because at Bombazine, that's exactly what we had. We had an alarm when it was approaching failure.
Sure.
I will ask the engineer tomorrow and get that answer for you.
Thank you, and I apologize, I didn't think of that previously.
Good.
And then, maintenance-wise, in the report and in our conversations, we discussed maintenance. Is there actual, annual or semi-annual or every 6-month maintenance that we are
It's on
taking or
call.
should be? Or it's just when there's a failure, when there's an issue, we respond and?
It's on call. There's no preventative maintenance.
Sure.
For them.
Okay, and then my comment related to the question of the grinder pumps and what to do, I would be adamantly against transferring the maintenance to the current homeowners that are there, because as David and Vanessa both said, they inherited this, they didn't design the system. They purchase the house, have the house, with the understanding that the town is going to maintain that grinder pump, and I think it would be terribly unfair to the current homeowners to then force that responsibility upon them. I would entertain the idea of transferring maintenance responsibility to new homeowners, but I wonder if there could be I understand, recording everything at the Registry of Deeds, and hopefully the new buyers have, responsible realtors that do their diligence and make them aware of this. But I wonder if there's any extra measure when you speak with council that kind of mandate that be disclosed at the time of sale. in a way where, you know, it couldn't be, you know, hidden under the, I just want to make it fair and equitable to future homeowners so that they're aware that, you know, your house is on this type of system, and if and when it fails, you'll be responsible for approximately this much in replacement.
First, I'd like to go back to the preventative maintenance. There really isn't a preventative maintenance on this. It's not like I mean, I suppose we could annually pop each one open, inspect it, and repair it. So when I talk about preventative maintenance, I think of, you know, like air conditioning systems, boilers, things like that.
Sure, cleaning a filter.
Exactly. There is not anything like
Sure.
that. Secondly, we are not at all asking this board to consider passing this responsibility on to current homeowners. And I do not read the regulations to allow you to do that. And I don't think it would be wise to revise the regulations to allow you to do it. The trigger is that if you determine the grinder pumps could be, and I forget exactly, can we go back? Yep, right there, stop right there, please. The trigger is if you decide, as Board of Sewer Commissioners, that the grinder pump units can be more feasibly, I don't know the other way, whether it's, operated and maintained by the homeowner, the operation and maintenance will become the responsibility of the next homeowner at the time the ownership of the property is transferred. So there's absolutely no suggestion that that be imposed upon current homeowners.
And I understand that bit. I wasn't anticipating us trying to pull that type of change on the current ones, but I guess my concern was, are we inadvertently creating undesirable properties by adding some undue burden to that property? You know, we're in a state where housing's at a premium, so it's probably not a deal breaker, but let me ask you another question that maybe you do or don't have the answer for. So that, let's say on the low side, $3,500 per saying is today roughly the replacement cost of one of these. How does that, do we know how that compares to if, for example, the house had a septic tank and they had to have that system reworked? You know, are we saying, are these essentially comparable homeowner expenses that they are getting into? Whether
Oh, golly, no, I would kill to be on a sewer system.
Yeah, I mean, the Title V alone is significant.
So we do, in the matter of public interest, pass along considerably a number of responsibilities when property is transferred from owner to owner. Title V, for any system that has been in operation for more than, I believe it's 2 years, requires you literally dig it up, check to make sure that it's draining properly, the tank's working properly, if there's a pump, that everything's working properly. A typical gravity system, assuming that the soils, everything's good, perk test passes, is probably today in the range of $15,000 plus or minus. And those costs can go up from there depending upon whether or not you have to have a mound system, whether or not you have to, and by that, when the soils aren't good, you literally build the earth up so that you get all the right separation between the leaching fields and the groundwater table, whether or not you have to have a grinder pump. I don't know if nitrous oxide systems are required in this town. I don't know if you have any of them close enough to waterways to require that. So, in my view, there is no cost comparison between getting yourself onto a public sewer system, even with those, you know, quarterly bills, and the costs of septic systems can be 15,000 and up. Does that answer?
I think you got there. So basically, this is not sticking the future homeowner with some newly inherited responsibility that is now more expensive than should the property have remained on septic throughout its life, because at some point that septic system was likely going to experience failure, plus there's ongoing maintenance costs with them. So they're, I think what we're saying is that largely there's probably comparable, if not still cheaper, for them to have this burden on the sewer system versus if they had a septic tank.
Yes, over the life cycle.
Okay.
Can we go back to the discussed questions? So, if there are other questions on the grinder pumps, happy to try to my best, but we could use a sense of direction.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, that really impacts the cost estimates, and it's those cost estimates that will drive the rate study.
So I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. You know, do you have examples of surrounding towns and what they have done?
The surrounding towns that I'm aware of have not yet shed themselves. I haven't gone into their regulations and how they built their systems, but I don't know of any that have shed themselves of these grinder pumps. And some of them are replacing a certain number a year, but I can't give you any detail beyond that.
Okay. Do we have any other?
I guess one other kind of question is something to ponder. So we kind of have a binary choice presented to us currently with the grinder pumps of continue to maintenance them all or transfer. Is there a middle ground where, 80% of the bill is the homeowners and 20% the town chooses to contribute to, that essentially helps defray the costs? So there's still a public interest in the essence of maintaining these, but the private homeowner is now, we'll say, incentivized to keep the thing running in the best shape they can because most of the bill falls to them. Is that?
So it's a binary choice. If you look at the top two, continue to maintain them all, or transfer maintenance responsibility. If you stop there and make that choice, then there are additional choices you can make about in what order, over what timeline, and in what method you want to transfer that responsibility.
Just to keep, just to catch Raj up real quick, we are about to make a decision in terms of whether we're going to continue to maintain all of the pumps or pass them on at the sale of the property. And we're discussing the benefits of both of those options.
I understand, but do we need to have a public hearing or public things, before the five of us make a decision on this?
So, yes, you do not.
Yes, right?
Here's what I'm going to say to you. The rates themselves need to be the subject of a public hearing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the select board can, and has in recent memory, switched gears partway into a program. What I'm trying to avoid here is a replay of that. So rather than the staff going through and check, making these decisions, and then finding out we're gonna go in a different direction, I thought it critical to get a sense of direction from the board. So what you're doing tonight is giving the staff a sense of direction. We will then, your engineers and your staff will develop that rate study. You will then see the impact on that rate study. And you may make a decision to go in a different direction, but at least then you will have been part of the process and you will have understood all the different variables, as opposed to the staff coming in and saying, here it is, and the board saying, time out.
So in essence, we're not really making any permanent decisions right now. We're kind of guiding how the study will go, and then at that point, once we have all the information.
Can we do both, so with or without? So with means, people taking their grinder pumps or, town still keep it.
You
so
mean have the study
Yeah,
show
study
both
with
of
the
those?
both.
I think we could do the study with one sense of direction and a, memo as to what happens if you don't go. I think we could do something like that.
So the reason is, we did go through now, okay? So with the trash. So the trash, people were having, this trash has been under the town for a long, long, long time. So we came up with this trash program, and immediately we said, okay, you have to pay this much money if all those things happen. Now, we go say, we are taking away your grinder pumps, we have to pay for this. All these things, it adds up. And I don't know how people will react. So rather than, 5 of us make okay, this is what I want, or the 5-member board wants, then we will give them a choice, and we will take this case to that's what I was thinking. We'll take this case to the people. We'll have some meetings, few few places we'll have meetings, and then, we can decide. That's my view.
So
I'm fine.
the one thing I would say about that is, I understand where you're coming
It'll
from.
be a mixed thing.
Well,
but
I don't think it'll be mixed. I think, 125 people will want the town to maintain it, and the rest of them will want to pass it off, because that makes
I
financial
agree.
sense.
I totally agree.
However,
but,
I think that it's our job here to make these decisions.
At
as-
least, we are giving an opportunity for the people to weigh in.
Mm-hmm.
So once they weighed in, so we can make a decision.
I don't think that anything
We'll have the
tonight,
sense of, how many people really wants it, how many people doesn't want it, then we can say, yeah, this is
Right.
it. I don't know.
I do think that we do have to make a decision tonight in terms of which direction to go. There will be an asterisk, if we decided to change directions, then there could be a change in this as well. So
Yeah, that's fine with me.
we still have a lot more questions to
I
go
think that the
through.
rate study needs to proceed with a sense of direction, and the engineers need to understand that during the presentations, questions are gonna come up about, well, what if this, what if this, what if this, what if this? Absolutely, but we need that sense of direction. And given this is my last meeting with you, stop kicking the can down the road on every major decision facing the town, because you have an alignment of issues to deal with.
It's all the town administrators, One town administrator came in, she throw in the sewer enterprise account. The another town administrator, interim town administrator came in. I'm blaming you.
So I just
That's fine,
want to get a sense while we're here right now.
25-year-old
Let's just
senior
get a sense for what we're thinking right now. Mike, what's your thought right now?
So I support the idea of, if it's not an undue hardship on the firm and council and you, I would love to see the fee calculated as a worst-case scenario if we were to continue to maintain them all, with even a range or a budget range or an estimate of what that might decrease by should we transfer it over the course of 10 to 15 years with the sale. So I think if you had to pick one, I always like to think in terms of worst-case scenario for the town. If we were to continue to maintain them all as we currently do, have that be the rate that we look at, and then once we make the decision on whether or not to transfer them upon the sale, we can adjust. I'd rather have the number be higher initially, and then, under promise, over deliver, to have the number be higher and then have it potentially go down versus the alternate.
I like that idea because, people are used to this. They want the town to take care of it. So now all of a sudden you go, hey, you pay like this much money. Then they may be willing to pay a little more for this, fee. But, yeah, I like his idea.
I do want to avoid the pitfall of analysis paralysis.
Sure.
So my thought is to instruct the engineers to complete the study under the concept that we're going to maintain them all, and to include a what-if memorandum, not 18 charts.
Sure.
Just if you did this, if you did this, if you did this, if you made new homeowners install their own grinder pump. We'll give you an analysis that can give you some answers to people's questions, but doesn't cause generating multiple different kinds calculations that'll just get people's
Sure.
heads spinning.
Yeah.
Would that be agreeable?
Absolutely. And
Do you all,
Can I
do we
ask
need a
one
vote on
question,
this?
I might have missed it. Can I ask one?
Sure.
I might have missed it. How much is the grinder pump cost?
Depending upon,
Or
you have
five?
3 styles.
Normally, how much they put it?
Residential.
The residential ones, depending upon the styles that they have, are roughly $3,500
Yeah,
to
that- you are right, you are right.
$6,500.
35. So that's what in the Westland Circle. So they did install some grinder pumps. So if I remember, that may be the ballpark.
Yeah, the commercial ones, like the one we're looking at for Major Edwards, is a factor of 10.
Yeah, but that is a town property, so we have to come up with the money.
Okay,
So we
so
are worried about the individual families.
do you want to start consensus or a vote?
Consensus is fine with me.
I'm good with that. Everyone good with
I'm
that?
good with that.
Okay, what's the next question?
Okay. So the next question becomes the privilege fee. You have an initial betterment against the properties that first connected to the system many moons ago. Those are on their tax bills, they pay them, and those funds are segregated to pay your debt. You have about another 10 years of debt to go, and I think we gave you the debt schedules on that. Unfortunately, it doesn't drop off till 2034. There's a really nice drop there from, 250 give or take to 160 give or take. I don't think you can wait until then to pick up your improvements with that delta. Secondly, you have the privilege fee or a connection fee. Those are what you charge people who now come into the system and were the subject of some changes, public hearings, and some changes that we did, I think it may have been March or April
Route 12.
when we those. How to use that privilege fee has never been determined. They're sitting there. Over the last 5 fiscal years, they're $300,000 plus or minus. The question becomes whether or not you wish to continue to build them up, or whether or not you are willing to consider tapping them, if you will, drawing some of them down. And I'm not suggesting drawing them all down, because remember, this is a picture of this system today. In 5 years, it's going to have another snapshot. Are you willing to consider drawing a portion of those funds down for this improvement program?
I think so.
I would say yes.
agreed.
So the minutes will reflect that the consensus of the board was a willingness to draw down a portion of the privilege fee towards this improvement program. And if yes, I'm going to consider $100,000 plus or minus as kind of a starting point, if the board's comfortable with that.
How much we have? 300?
That's in the last 5 fiscal years. Remember, Leslie's was on vacation. Leslie's part-time with us now. We can go back a little further, but I'm comfortable at the 300 plus or minus mark.
I would say let's go to 150.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Leave 150 should something
Yeah,
come up.
if they have been collected, but they're not being specifically earmarked for a task, I think trying to defray the cost to the general populace.
Sure.
Is,
Okay, let's move on then, if, unless there's any questions with that particular slide.
Thank you.
So now I want to bring you up to date on green communities. There are a number of the improvements that are energy related. Heaters, hot water heaters, motors, pumps, control systems that Weston and Sampson laid out for you. we believe that some of those may be eligible for the Green Communities Program. The maximum grant is $250,000. There's a second program I'm not gonna get into because it really does not fit this purpose at all. That is done annually in October. I believe October 12 this year. It is once a year. Once you get the grant, you have to stay out of the program for 2 years. Your requests to date have been relatively small in the $40,000-$50,000 range, based upon what I was told this
Do
morning.
you know it's been 2 years?
Yeah, we're eligible to go again this fall.
Because, we did that for the schools, some of the light bulbs.
Yeah, we met this morning with the Eversource representative because of their provision of natural gas. We had the light plant in the meeting, John Fitch, sit in on this because they would need to do the energy audit for the electric issues. We had Kelly, oh my God, I worked with her for 15 years now, I can't remember her last name, I'm sorry. Who is the director for the state, for our region. And we had CET, who's the energy audit firm that the light department uses, light plant uses. And one or two folks from Central Mass Regional Planning who would put the grant application together for us.
So when it's, speaking of the CMRPC, are they going to charge us or it's free? So if there is, the reason I'm asking is, they could use their time.
You get a certain amount,
No,
but
I
it
haven't-
doesn't cover,
I put a lot of time over there.
yeah.
So they should be using that time.
They would be using some of the grant administration monies.
Yeah, they do charges, they do
They
charges.
do
That's why-
charges.
That's why I'm reminding you.
So the thought this morning was to prioritize with the idea that we want to prioritize our tax levy supported departments. Because if we can lower those maintenance costs and capital costs,
Right.
that impacts the tax rate. So the thought this morning was to concentrate on the library, continuing problems with their AC and the chilling units over there. We have 3 small projects at the school department that we think would be competitive. And then to fill out the delta with projects from the sewer department. Now, some of these projects may not be the best return on investment. So what you do is, let's say you have a $30,000 item and it has a 10-year return on investment, that's not going to be competitive. But if you put some town capital money against it, or sewer reserves, privilege fee against it, and it comes down to 20,000, and you're asking Green Communities to pay 10 out of 20, that can improve the rate of return. And yes, you can capital shave to make those numbers work better.
What is the total grant amount?
The maximum you can ask for is $250,000.
You don't do
The
much.
important thing is to be competitive. I'd rather be competitive at $75,000 than non-competitive at $175,000. So the question becomes, if it is agreeable to this board that we assume tax levy departments have priority, and you are open to using a best estimate, swag, in terms of writing down the costs of this capital improvement program.
Yes.
Yes,
It's good for me, but it's not a whole lot of money.
It's all real money.
Something is better than nothing, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's
How
all
do you
real
use
money.
Yeah, and you seem to be knowledgeable about what might likely be approved based on the needs and the ask and the payback analysis.
That can change from year to year, but they do produce a report of what projects they funded, what the payback was, that not only in terms of years, but what it was in terms of, I think it's millions of BTUs that are saved.
Sure. I would absolutely be in favor of, we don't have to iron out those details tonight.
No,
but
no, we're just wanna get a
upon further
sense of
analysis,
direction.
I'd be in favor of applying
Yes.
for that grant,
Yes.
absolutely.
And also, to the CMRPC, they have a very good idea. So they have they work with the several communities. So as soon as they say, green community, I'm putting in this grant, they will say, hey, whatever you are doing is not going to work.
Sure.
So,
And the good thing about that meeting this morning was that the whole team was there, so we were able to talk about which elements should we proceed with, what do we have to do, and so forth. It was nice to be able to see CET. I jokingly said to them, I'm glad my investment when I was in Pittsfield 50-plus years ago has helped keep you all afloat still, so. It was kind of a bit of sense of deja vu there. So may the minutes reflect that the consensus of the board is to use an estimate of some green communities money in terms of writing down the cost of these projects. And the tax levy departments do have priority in applying for those funds.
Agreed.
Yep.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to use, based upon what you just suggested, a total of $200,000 between the privilege fee and the green communities.
Would that go
Because
up to
we won't get
250?
the whole 200 for the sewer.
Would that go up to 250 now that we said 150 from privilege?
I think 200's the best because that would be plus or minus.
Okay.
If we put the whole green communities together and we see the libraries not competitive, the schools only competitive at 60, but we have 60 we could competitive, then it would be 210. So it's 200 plus or minus,
Okay.
if that's agreeable.
Yep.
Okay, so now the question becomes, are you open to bonding? The advantage of bonding is you go in, you borrow depending upon how the numbers finally shake out based upon these previous decisions, $1.25 million plus or minus, and you punch it all out. Because remember, this is a snapshot in time of everything at present. And as anything in the fifth year is not undertaken now, it continues to age out. I understand that you might want to try to keep going on cash alone. We can sort that through. I just have tried to make you aware of the risks as I put this report together. This does not obligate you to bonding. It does provide that should you get some of these other grants, you could borrow less when you write that town meeting warrant article. But we do need to know if you would be open to bonding and punching these projects all at once, or if you want us to chew away at it as we can.
So you just said that this is not obligating us, but it will allow us.
It allows us to complete the rate study based upon servicing that debt.
Okay.
Should you choose to go that direction, when you get the rate study, I'm trying to get the rate study in front of you by early September, because you do have to have some public hearings. You also have to put an article on what I think of as the fall town meeting.
October town meeting.
You think of as your semi-annual or
October
bi,
town
whatever.
meeting.
Yeah. You get authorization there. We would then, assuming it's approved, you all would float the bond in February. We estimated February 15th. Why do we do that? Because your first payment doesn't become due until your next fiscal year, but you now have cash and can get started right away.
I would say yes. We are open to bonding.
Agreed.
So I am definitely open to that. I do, obviously, in this particular method, we're sort of doing a compressed timeline of repairs. And this could be for a separate follow-up meeting later on. I do wonder if there is a replacement, schedule that we should put in place moving forward so that we don't have these 25 to 30 years from now all hitting kind of the same replacement window again. And obviously, if we're putting them all in now, they're all gonna have roughly the same life, give or take. So I don't, I don't think we have time to kick these down the road any further, but I would be curious if we, from the civil engineering firms and whatnot, if they have any advice on how we can try to stagger these so that we're not all or nothing on this.
The answer is yes. We're not on a timeline to do that right now, but I can speak to it when we come to the retained earnings policy.
Okay. So I think we had at least 3 of the 4 board members say that we were good with the bond option.
So the minutes can reflect that the board is open to the concept of bonding the capital improvement program and essentially punching it out all at once. I do want to remind the board that there is a management issue in that you must expend these funds in a given period of time. And there's IRS regulations. Cinder and Mary McMoney can walk you through all that. I don't know if Mike has worked with them, but he'll come up to speed very quickly. And I will work with him. You will need to name bond counsel. The treasurer usually does that. I don't believe you borrowed any money in recent years when you have bond counsel.
Question about the bonding. Who then is in charge, like, which body is in charge of paying this?
Okay. So you decide you want to bond a project. First thing you do is you engage with Hilltop Securities. You give them a sense of what you want to do. We gave Cinder the actual report from Weston and Sampson. First question is, how many of these elements have life cycles of 10 years or more? We send it back. Yep, this will work. We have a team meeting of how much do you think you want to borrow? What do you want us to look at in terms of financing options? When do you want to float it? So on and so forth. And that's all in your package. Next, you will determine whether or not you want to take this to the town meeting. If you do, prior to that, you will run those numbers back through Cinder, and you will engage bond counsel, who will look at the package to feel comfortable that, in fact, it fits all the rules of the road, if you will. And they will draft or review your draft of the warrant article. This one's not as simple as to see if we'll spend some money and bond it. They will prepare that bonding warrant article for you. So now the treasurer, with the authorization of the select board, because these are general obligation bonds, is the one who determines when to float the bond and how, in what criteria. Now, truthfully, in the communities I've worked on, that trigger is usually pulled by the town administrator, the town manager, and the treasurers. More of a ministerial function. But the treasurer would, or Hilltop Securities on your behalf, will put this package out to bid. They'll compile the bids for you, present them to you. There is a letter of intent to award that the treasurer can sign. The treasurer then comes in front of you with this lovely thick packet. The board votes, approves it, and signs its life away for 10 minutes. And then that goes back to Hilltop Security, and you generally have your money wired within 3 days.
And then, but who is responsible for paying back this bond?
So the cost of it, depending upon the town you're in some communities, the cost and responsibility for servicing debt lies within the office of the treasurer. In your town, it's been put into the budgets of the individual departments, and it's been the responsibility of the accounting department. You do have some changes going on in accounting, so I'm gonna leave that to Mike, but normally it is
Let me ask
the
this in a different
treasurer's.
way. At town meeting, the people that are voting for it, is everybody or is only people who are on sewer allowed to vote for this?
Everybody, it's a general obligation bond.
Again, okay, so this is affecting people who aren't even paying for sewer right now.
They have no cost, but it is the town at large that must approve it. You're not a water district. It is the town at large that must approve this general obligation bond. We have Raj back. I don't know if he's open to bonding. We can then show the,
That's fine.
okay, so the minutes can reflect that the 4 members were of consensus. They were open to bonding. Super. So now, David, coming back to your question, yes, you can develop replacement schedules. And from those replacement schedules, you can say, okay, and in this year, we need this much money, and you start setting it aside, because you're right, you don't want to end up the situation where you are at DPW, where you buy 3 trucks in 3 years, and all of a sudden, in 20, they go together. So the question becomes whether or not you want the staff to develop a policy for the use of retained earnings. We would often say, once retained earnings are estimated, you're gonna hold so much in case you need it at the annual town meeting, the May town meeting, to backfill something. You're gonna put so much in your OpEx, so much in your CapEx, and the balance, you're just gonna keep rolling over, to have that balance in your checkbook, just like you would with your home budget. Would you like the staff to develop a policy for your consideration as to how to use retained earnings?
I think that would be wise.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay.
So can I ask you a unrelated, or related, but one of the side questions? It may be too late, or is it possible? You do know that the history of the sewer and, how we got the sewer. So the state said, connect the sewer because of the water. They needed the
reservoir,
water, reservoir, connect the sewer, we will maintain it. And in the middle of the night, Act of 1985, what they did is, no, we are not going to maintain. The very first time they said, we will maintain for life. Then, with one act, what they did is, no, we are not going to maintain, let the town maintain it. That is Act of 1985. Is it too late to ask the legislators to reconsider, take over? I know that it's what are the chances they will spend millions of dollars on this town? None. But is it worth, as a select board, can we make a pitch on this? Or give us some money.
It's never too late to seek legislative relief. Were any relief to be forthcoming, would it happen on a timeline that would impact this?
On a side things, then let it go
It's-
this way.
it's-
This
it's
is
never too
very-
late.
This is very important, we have to do it. There is something up in the air. We don't know whether we will get any money
Right.
through the legislators. We don't know we will get from the state. But is it worth doing that? That's my question.
It's never too late to ask for legislative relief. I think you always have to consider the odds of being successful.
Is zero.
I'm a firm believer in concentrating on the things you can succeed at.
I know, I agree, but at the same time, even if they increase the water fees, like a 5 cents to the Boston guys, we should be getting so much money, right? Anyway, so
Yeah,
this is
I don't
one thing,
have that. Yeah.
this has been there, this has been talked several times, not in this board, but people talk on this. So this is one of the things, select board could consider sending a mail or whatever the avenue we can go with this. I would think, that's, unless you ask. If you don't cry, you won't be getting it anything.
So just real quick about this, I understand, obviously, we want to ask, the problem is that this should have been discussed years and years and years
Oh,
ago.
I agree.
The three of us haven't been here that long, why hasn't the select board from the
They-
past
it-
discussed this, make a plan to have all these fees happen? Why are we just now starting to pay all these fees at the same time because the system's failing? So I understand, yes, we want to ask for more money, but this should have been a forethought 5, 10, 15 years ago. So I don't think we
The thing
can,
is, those things are done. So what this select board we can do, right?
right, we're picking up the
So-
pieces for
Yeah,
previous select boards.
Exactly. So this has been brought before the legislators, Some of the things are brought before the legislator. That could have been said, yeah, okay, we may do it or we may not do it, it's possible, it's not possible. I'm just throwing in one of the ideas, so even if we get some money towards this, that'll be a useful thing, right? So even if it is not $100 million, so even if you get a $200,000, so somehow, we get this, so that'll be a good thing. That's what I'm thinking.
I want to just circle back to ensure that the consensus in the minutes will show that the staff is being asked to develop a retained earnings policy.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I just want to ask one more just clarifying question, because I'm still confused about this one thing. So for example, 35 call-outs for grinder pumps last year. Where that money that was paid for that service, who's paying that?
Sewer department,
So now, if we have a bond, who's paying for that?
the users of the sewer system.
So not all taxpayers, just sewer users.
In this case, only the users of the sewer system would be paying this bond, yes.
Yet, town meeting would require the majority of the voters to decide, not just sewer users.
Correct.
Okay, that was all I wanted to confirm.
If I may, just to follow up on that, do we have a sense of what percentage of the town are sewer versus septic?
Yeah,
I'd say more than 75%.
yeah, it's a really high percentage.
There are certain streets, so we have the ledges. I can tell you.
I think it's actually like
So
almost
one of the
90%.
streets
Okay.
is, one of the street is, I can name it, it's a public data, Wood Street.
Mhm.
For some reason, that street had never been connected to sewer.
Sure. I'm on
One of-
Lancaster Street and I'm
One of the
septic.
street is Goodale Street.
Mhm.
Goodale Street, we cannot dig. So even the fiber optics guys came in, they
Mhm.
cannot dig it.
Sure.
So because the Goodale Street is sitting on a ledges.
Mhm.
As soon as you touch it, it's like a huge ledges. So that
Mhm.
is not connected.
Sure.
So that way, the sewer it's not connected because, difficulty.
Yeah, no, totally understood. I just wanted to get a sense, is it
I would say
50%, 70%,
I would say
90%?
like a 10 to 15%,
Okay, thank
very
you.
less.
Okay,
Some of the very
So-
small streets.
I believe we've answered all of the questions.
So I just want to let the board know, our hope is that public access can take this portion of the discussion, cut it out, make it a standalone video. We'll put a little something together on news and announcements, and build a page for this, so that people can hopefully start to follow this process.
Great,
Thank you.
okay. All right.
You weren't hoping for it to be like a precise, stay on topic, I hope, because clearly we didn't get there.
Hope lives eternal.
Okay, moving on to the next item, it is the Humboldt Masters LLC material breach of host community agreement.
At your last meeting, the representative of Humboldt indicated that it would submit reports in time for this meeting. We sent them a letter confirming that that was our understanding, and asked that they submit those by close of business yesterday.
Maria, can
we
we just
have,
take this down?
Not received any submission of documents. And around close of business today, we did receive a communication that, in simplest terms, says it appears this matter would be better handled by counsel. And I'll have an attorney reach out to you directly in order to move this forward to the satisfaction of the town. You have a couple of options. You can
Oh,
say,
are we live? I don't know, it doesn't say on air. That's my only hesitation. I don't wanna,
We've been live the whole time, so it just hasn't rolled back over, but
I
when,
believe so.
yeah,
okay,
it's just still connected to the click share from when she had it, that's all.
okay.
are you comfortable with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay, I guess.
So you have a couple of options. Option number one is to say, okay, we look forward to it. Option number two, should you wish council to be present or to have discussions in executive session of the several different approaches that we've laid out for you to set that meeting for July 15th, inform Mr. Kazakov that you're disappointed he did not meet the commitment that he made to you, and that you will be scheduling a vote for July 15th.
I would go to the late, I would, yeah, the second one. He's not going to submit.
Well, there's a third one.
Third one, okay.
I'm sorry, there's a reason my kids call me Option Man, Raj.
No, I don't want,
The
I
third
don't want
one,
too many options, that's the problem.
I understand, it's when you're
Just that
standing
one.
in the cereal aisle and you just glaze over. The third one is we have laid out a memorandum for you previously. You have those various motions, draft motions that, for your consideration, and you could undertake a vote tonight. Should you undertake a vote tonight, I would simply ask that you be very circumspect in what you say, so that it does not pose any problems for future executive session or future discussions.
So,
So,
that being
you know,
said,
all over the place, you know, spitballing suggestions, probably not a good way to proceed.
right, so I would say just so we can be cautious and so that we're not saying anything out of place, I would lean towards option two, asking for July 15th in executive session.
Attorney %.
I will have counsel send them that letter tomorrow, expressing our disappointment that they did not meet the delivery date that they themselves chose and committed to, and letting them know that this board will be proceeding with further consideration. That gives them a date certain, and hopefully a wake-up call to move, but we shall see. Thank you.
What's the consequence that could happen from this thing?
I would prefer not to discuss
Okay.
A
anything.
range of options.
We are going to table discussion about grants, gifts, and tangible properties for the next meeting, which is July 15th. And let's move on to the town administrator's report.
So with respect to the town administrator's report, this is going to be, with the exception of some comments at the end, concentrated on the status of the solid waste program. And similarly, we'll try to get it cut out and posted. With respect to Mr. Murphy's comments, yes, I've spoken with him, and I believe I've suggested to you all, it's in the transition memo, that at some point, on or about August 1, a little bit before, a little bit after, that there be a public meeting. I'm not necessarily saying, you know, a public hearing in terms of that technical phrase, to let people come in and tell you what they think worked right, what they think didn't work right, what their concerns are, as Mr. Murphy's expressed them. The staff is collecting comments as we go about this. We would invite additional comments the staff could then put together for you kind of a lessons learned. I've joked with some of the staff, I did my kitchen over completely, and after 2 weeks, I wish I could redo it. Because this drawer should have been moved there, this, in any program like this, that happens. So it is our suggestion that that public process be held early in the summer, and then whatever. It is not possible to design a system that fits every single person that you can then maintain in a cost-efficient manner at all. It's simply not doable. But there may be things you find that can be adjusted midstream. To date, we've received a little over 300 applications for the senior discount. Approximately 240 of them have been processed. Only one has been denied, and 12, we've had to make requests for more information. We do have 3 boilerplate letters at this point going out. Congrats, you're approved. Sorry, you're not approved, here's why. You can try again next year if you want. Or if we just missed the boat someplace, tell us where we missed it. And the third one is, we still need this piece of information from you. And I want to say thanks to Kim, Maria, Carrie and Jenny, and Candace in helping a lot of folks through this process. We have 6 homes that are awaiting in, I can't remember the name of the street now. They're 35 gallons. We do need to order Emily Drive. We do need to order some additional 35 gallons. We met with Republic this morning, refined those numbers. We'll get that order placed in the next week or so. And then there is a field report for every set that was delivered. We have a unit on list of where they were to be deployed. We now have the list of exactly where everything did go, and those will be field audited. We so far have 36 requests from seniors as a part of the applications for the senior rate requesting the smaller bins. We did make one mid-course correction, which is for anyone that asks for a senior, the smaller bin. Prior to July 1, during the deployment, we are not charging the $50 delivery or collection fee. Similarly, for anyone who's trying to consolidate the number of bins, we're not charging that collection fee. So if you thought you had to pay the $50 fee to either swap out your bins or to consolidate the number of bins, that has been waived. It's on the website now for a few days, a week or so, I think. But send an email to solidwaste@westboylston-ma.gov, and we will honor that. So for anyone who gets their request in prior to July 1. And if you didn't ask for a smaller bin because you didn't want to have to pay the $50, just send your name, address in, and we didn't apply because we thought we were going to have to pay this. With respect to, excuse me, the carts, the totes that some people have, there will be a collection day. Without cost to West Boylston residents, you will need to show your residency, and you may bring up to 5 items, maximum of 5 items. That is on the webpage today. Will be going up on bulletin boards and the like. We did send that to the Selectboard here late this afternoon. You do have to show residency because we are using the RDP and town operating budget to pay for it. So if you're from another town, you want to dispose of your bins, your totes at the recycling center, the Wachusett Cooperative Recycling Center. They'll take them, there will be a charge for that. But otherwise, come on the 27th. I believe it's 10 to 2. And I want to thank Norma Chanis and her group for doing that.
So
The-
Can I, 1 second, please. I have questions on that. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I believe so.
So the totes will be collected on 27th.
They can be, yes, we will collect them there for people
Where?
who bring them there.
Where?
The is it
Collection of-
Wachusett Regional
Recycle Center.
Recycling Center.
Oh, they have to bring, they have
Yes.
to take it to the recycling.
Yes.
To bring
Yep.
them
So
yourself.
if they take it to the recycling center on June 27th, right?
Yep,
June 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., it is free of cost.
up to
Up to
5,
5 items. free.
provided you show residency.
They show the driver's license.
Yep,
Normally
perfect.
they say they show this driver.
Yep.
Whenever we go recycling center, we need to show the driver's license.
Yep.
So that's all, few towns are.
And depending upon demand, we may do it another day, but Norma thought it was best to do it once and see what the demand was like.
So I did talk to a couple of residents, they did ask me, so the same questions, that's why I'm asking. So I told them, I will talk to you and then find out.
Yep,
And while we are there, and I will ask you another question too. You did answer me, but if you answer for the entire town, that would be great. So I'm running out, I have 2 bags left, 2 trash bag left. So to cover until the end of this month, do I need to go back to buy a $5 and then
so technically, you should be buying bags to get through to the end of the month. Practically, practically, we are not gonna turn staff into bag police for the next 2 weeks. So if you have them, use them up. If you run out, if you have them left over, use them up. You can't return them for a refund.
So that's the same question they were asking, say, Raj, I'm going to buy 2 bags, I need 4 bags, but there will be 12 bags left, what do I do? Can I return it and get the money? That's why I approached you, you said the same answer,
Yeah.
but it's better to entire town knows today.
And what we are doing is I've asked DPW to put together a cost comparison if someone went to the grocery store to buy bags, so we can see if maybe we can price our inventory at that and sell that inventory off. I do want to comment on one thing, going back to my kitchen and the changes, if you will. This program has been evolving over time. If you have a question, pose it on Facebook if you want. Please don't rely on the answers on Facebook unless they are posted by a town official. The only reliable source of information on this program is either that has been most recently posted on the town website by town staff, or is in response to a question that you yourself email to solidwaste@westboylston-ma.gov. There is no other source of information where you can say to me, well, I read it here. If they had it right, perfect. But I really encourage people to follow the sources that we're trying to get out there for people. Moving back to some of the questions that we've been getting, what if my property's vacant? So we have, again, had to make some adjustments on the fly. If it is condemned, if you can show us the demolition permit. If it's out of service, and by that we mean the water meter's been pulled and the electric meter's been pulled, there's a form. And we'll email it to you, and we will consider you opted out. However, if it's vacant this month and then gets rented up in 3 months, no, we can't. So that is an issue we've tried to address in a manner that we thought was reasonable and defendable. Is it too late to opt out? Yes. If you were on the original mailing list and did not return your opt-out form, it is too late. Now, if you want to send us an email, solidwaste@westboylston-ma.gov, and say, I never got the form, we will check the mailing list. And if for some reason you weren't on the mailing list, you can opt out at this point in time. That's a bad on us, you didn't get the form. If you are there, there's an assumption that when we mail something, you get it. Can I get more bins? Not yet. You can apply after the 1st of January in 2027. Right now, we're making sure we get everybody serviced appropriately. We'll see what that leaves us with inventory, and then we can order more bins based upon demand. Can you ask for different bins at this time? No, unless you are on the senior rate, and that is subject to inventory. I'm happy to answer any questions the board might have. We did meet on this today with Republic. We have put on your incoming TAs his first official meeting of next week to be taking this effort over. And like we're trying to do for the sewer, we'll get this clipped, do a news and announcements, and have this out there for people.
So I do have one question. In town, there is one household due to certain difficulties, they are producing more than two bins of the, the supplies they throw it is more than that. So they can come to the select board, ask for some consideration, the third bin.
Well, the select board left the administration of the program in the hands of the town administrator and DPW.
So they have
And
to,
it set a date of January 1, 2027. Everyone needs to live with the system for 6 months before they can start to change it. So the answer at this point is no, they cannot get extra bins.
I will talk to you, this is a very different situation.
Sure. I will say that I've encouraged the DPW around the holiday, Thanksgiving to Christmas, when there's often additional, trash, to bring in at least one, if not two dumpsters for a period of a few days to accept that additional waste as a courtesy. But that's where we are at this point.
So I have been told, or you have been saying, the reason for the totes are all the trash haulers, the trucks equipped with the automatic things. But I see yesterday, he's jumping on the back of the truck. So when that is going to happen?
So the bins were delivered over the course of last week. People can start using them this week. That's not going to happen immediately with all of the users. So I noticed this morning, some people had them out, some people didn't. There will come a point, and we will be having handouts for the drivers, why didn't my bin get picked up? Here you go, here's the information. There will come a point when they will pass by and not collect it. Both the staff in Republic have been trying their best to approach this with a very soft glove approach in terms of the first few months. But yeah, there will come a point that if the carts aren't put out in the proper manner, they simply will be passed by.
So at this time, they are going to do it, the dual system, so some of the, so if I have the newer ones, they will pick it up by the,
Yes,
if they have the
the
older
carts
one?
can be put into use at any time now.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that I don't think it matters, it kind of depends on what they're doing, the workers necessarily.
but,
So
that's
some
we-
workers
no.
are using the thing, some of them are taking that by hand. We can't really,
No, that's right, but, people are asking, hey, you told us this has been picked up by the machine. Now, I see the guy is jumping and hanging in the truck. So what do you
That's-
say,
and-
Raj?
And let's remember that the program officially starts July 1. We have an early start on the program. People can start using those carts anytime they want, but this program from a you must do this technically starts July 1.
Just for additional clarity on that, is it the understanding, is it a different truck July 1st? Is it that there's only going to be one operator instead of two? Is that the big change, or is it just the,
I'll have to get the particulars for you, but I believe that they're deploying the new truck on or about July 1.
sure, and that would make the difference in the collection method and staffing?
Additionally, the company could have still required us to meet the July 1 date, but when they choose to phase in that truck is really at their schedule. And they could have bought themselves even a 2 or 3 month window for all we know. We have to live by the
Our-
agreement, which was
Yeah.
July 1. We are providing our end of the deal, which is a claw-capable trash can. When the
Exactly.
company chooses to implement their end, which for them is essentially, do we get down to a single operator or do we still drive 2 operators? That is their own economic incentive to put that into place.
I will say, I've been impressed with Republic's efforts to approach this in a manner which isn't really, hard, fast. That's the way it's going to be, period. The only other thing I'd like to do as part of my report, if I might, is to say thank you for the opportunity to work with you. It truly has been my pleasure. When you appointed me, I got a few calls of, are you out of your flipping mind? I have not seen that at all in my time with this board. It's been a pleasure to work with the board, with the staff. I gotta get Maria's name in there because, I want some biscuits on Monday. I would like to leave you with 2 thoughts, a couple, I guess. Stop kicking the can down the road. You have to. And it always reminds me of 2 sayings that I've carried with me throughout my life. One is a saying from Browning in the poem Andrea del Sarto, which effectively says, but the man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what are the heavens for? So to me, that's always, thinking and stretching and really going for it. Then there was my grandfather who always said, by the inch it's a cinch, by the yard it's damn hard. I have found that imagining what you can be, while being realistic about how to get, not giving up, but just being realistic about how you get there, is a great approach. And I think that this board has been applying that in the months I've been working with it. So thank you for this opportunity.
And thank you so much for stepping up and taking this on, especially during our trash debacle. And I know you signed up for certain things and you went well above those, and we're
It's
just so
Raj's
grateful.
fault because he really undersold this whole enterprise fund thing.
Yeah, exactly, that's you,
He really undersold that one.
Yeah. So now we are sewer enterprise. One solid waste enterprise to sewer enterprise. What do we do?
All right, moving on to meeting invitations and announcements or any future agenda items. I'll start with Mike. No,
So before then, the new town administrator will be working on Monday.
yes.
Yes,
Friday is a holiday, Juneteenth,
for some of us.
all of us. It's a municipal holiday, take it.
The pilot commission on the state level met yesterday. We will not meet again until September, but over the summer, there will be some listening sessions that they're planning throughout different regions in the state. We're hoping that they'll take the first 5 to 10 minutes of each meeting to sort of establish some ground rules, which are essentially an effort to put any misnomers aside for exactly how the payments are calculated, how they work throughout the state, so that we have sort of a common ground. They're open to the public, but they are targeting town officials, FinCom members, of the likes, anyone that essentially is anything to do with your municipal finances and operations, and if you happen to have state encumbered lands. And so there are a number of topics that so far the commission has put forward as issues or hardships, the perceived hardships, at least throughout the state. And the idea is that this commission wants to then hear from a broader audience. Again, we don't know if, we'll see. This commission does not have voting rights or a block or to make any direct change. The objective is to gather information and offer that report as possible policy changes to the governor's office at the end. So I will, once dates are established, I will certainly forward that to the office. Perhaps we can get that posted on the town website as well, just for general awareness. I know in our region, for example, they were considering either in Boylston at the gardens over there. Sorry, I forget the name.
Tower Hill.
Thank you. Or at the ski resorts.
Wachusett.
Thank you. Well, I thought it was Wachusett something. That was good, but anyway, is this Wachusett ski resort, or is it something?
Which is a
Which is
small
a
place.
mountain. I can sing the jingle if you'd like.
If you could, for the record, thank you. I know that for our region, those were two of the locations being considered. And like I said, once they set dates and times, they'll happily circulate those. So.
All right. Any other future agenda items? Anything, Raj? Nothing?
No.
The only thing for me is townwide planning will be meeting 6 PM Monday, June 29th, here in this meeting room and via Zoom. And we will be getting an update from our whiteboarding team. All right. If there's nothing else, we will consider entering into executive session under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation and non-union personnel, treasurer, collector, town accountant, and DPW director. And the chair declares that an open meeting discussion will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body. Can I have a motion to enter into executive
moved.
session? And we will come back out in open session for a possible vote. Can I have a second?
Second.
Raj?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Thank you for your review and discussion. Based upon that, I would ask that the board consider a motion to ratify the town administrator's appointment of Cheryl St. Louis as treasurer collector for a 3-year term effective July 1, 2026, and further that the board ratify the proposed employment agreement subject to final review by council, final review by the appointee, and a verification by the chair that none of those changes have a material negative impact upon the town.
So moved.
Second.
Do we take a roll call for this?
I would, I think.
Okay. Roll call vote. Raj?
Yes for me.
David?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mike?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
No.